Here's a story that dates back to almost a decade ago that y'all probably haven't heard yet. So, in 2015, the Warriors lost 2 straight games to the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference semis. It was a different Grizzlies team that wasn't quite yet a dynasty yet. But anyway, after that Game 3 loss and falling down in the series 1-2, Steph was in his hotel room sulking a bit and trying to figure out how to win the next game. At this point, Steph's phone rang, and it was none other than Draymond Green on the other end, who told Steph to come down to a local barbecue joint. It was there that the two of them had a pretty unhealthy meal, some beer, but more importantly, it was there where a conversation started a dynasty. You see, it could be pretty devastating to lose 2 straight games in a playoff series, but that didn't faze Dre Magic. In fact, he actually talked perspective back into Steph that the Warriors were still in great shape. And although this Magic talk didn't make any box scores, the Warriors, after that conversation, won game after game after game en route to winning that series and ultimately winning the championship. Well, guys, guess what? I have word that at this very moment that Draymond Green and Steph Curry have been spotted at a local barbecue joint. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys, but can you imagine if they were? Anyway, let's get down to business. Let me first start off by making a quick list here for y'all of situations where the Warriors found themselves in a bit of trouble. So, like I said, back in 2015, the Warriors lost 2 straight games against the Grizzlies, were put in a situation where their backs were up against the wall, only for them to storm back and win that series in 6 games. It happened again later that year in the finals, too. Lost 2 straight games to LeBron James and the Cavaliers, only to come back and win the series in 6. Against the Thunder in 2016, we all remember that story, right? Down 3-1 against KD and Westbrook, but that only gave birth to Game 6 Clay as the Warriors won that series in 7. Then, if you need any more proof that a comeback is imminent this year, in 2018 and 2019 against the Houston Rockets, the Warriors again had stretches of 2 losses in a row, only to fight back and win both series. Ladies and gentlemen, aside from 2017, the Warriors have always found themselves in pressure-filled playoff series. And the current situation the Warriors find themselves in today is no different. They're down 0-2 against the ankle-loving Sabonis and the Sacramento Kings, but I think Steph said it best in his post-game interview when he said,
That's the old saying, the series doesn't start until somebody wins on the other team's home floor.
So I'll get to that ankle-holding, ankle-grabbing, ankle-loving Domantas Sabonis soon, but first things first. Game 1 was a close 3-point game, and in Game 2, the score was tied at 95 apiece with about 5 minutes left to go in the 4th. These are 2 close games, but the reality is the defending champions are currently down 2-0. The major question to ask right now is it time to panic? And the answer to that is an astounding no. No. I mean, after watching 2 back-to-back 48-minute games with my eyes glued to the screen, the only conclusion I came upon is the fact that the Kings aren't beating the Warriors. The Warriors are beating themselves. I mean, sure, De'Aaron Fox is elevating himself into the superstar category, Malik Monk is looking like the son that Michael Jordan never had, and the Kings are eating rebounds like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. But despite all that, the Kings are barely winning. I mean, a shot by Wiggins late in Game 1, a few less turnovers in Game 2, and the Kings would be looking like queens at the moment. But speaking of turnovers, because I love numbers, I want to turn your attention to this statistic right over here in Game 2. 22 turnovers to 14. That's 8 extra possessions you're giving a team. And do you know what this led to for the Kings? 25 points off turnovers to the Warriors' 9. That's pretty much the tale of the tape so far in this series, extra possessions. The adjustments that Golden State made in containing Fox from Game 1 to Game 2 was actually pretty successful. I mean, sure, he had 24 points in that second outing, but on 23 shots. The Warriors would gladly take that efficiency going forwards. Now, anyway, while everyone is chirping currently like the series is already over, let's look over the facts here really quick. The Kings didn't do anything out of the ordinary. The truth is, they did exactly what they're supposed to do, and that's to protect home court. And with everything that happened so far this season, who expected the Warriors to win road games anyway? The Warriors will now get their chance to do the exact same thing. Games 3 and 4 will be at Chase Center, and for the first time so far in this series, the Warriors will have home court advantage and the crowd will be on their side. You know, the Warriors may be the 6th seed entering the postseason, but actually they have a better home record than the likes of Milwaukee and Boston, the two teams who are favored by most analysis to win it all. Trust me when I say they're going to win back-to-back games in the Bay Area, and you know what that means, right? The series is going to be tied up at 2 games apiece, the momentum will swing back to Golden State, and the Kings will probably turn off that beam. Then from there, experience will take over as Steph Curry and the crew will take full advantage of the momentum swing and steal Game 5. Then when it comes to Game 6, need I say more? Anyway, moving on here. If you're wondering what the Warriors need to do to win this series, it's pretty simple, and there's really only 3 steps. In fact, I call this the Warriors' 3-step process for overcoming an 0-2 deficit and beating the Kings. Like I stated, they need to limit unforced turnovers. With their pace on offense, I know they'll have turnovers throughout the game, but it's turnovers like these that just can't happen. They need to take better care of the ball, period. Next off, number 2 is that the Warriors need to play with a little more force on the boards. I know the Kings are a much younger team with a bit more length, but the Warriors have to close the gap a bit in this category. In Game 1, the Kings had 17 offensive boards compared to the Warriors' 9. And combined with the turnovers, the Kings are just getting extra possession after possession after possession. If the Warriors could even out this category just a bit, the Kings' biggest advantage will be gone. Finally, we have number 3, and that would be to just continue playing Warriors basketball. Because the truth is, they're doing a lot of things right. In both games, actually, the Warriors were the most efficient team when shooting from the field, but the only problem was, it doesn't matter how efficient you are if the other team is going to shoot like 10 more shots than you. That efficiency really doesn't matter. Anyway, I will give some credit to the Kings. First off, De'Aaron Fox. He's been a fourth quarter beast and has elevated his own status from an inefficient volume scorer to a legit superstar in this league with his speed and ability to get to his spots. Next off, let's move to the other side of the court. The Sacramento Kings don't look like they're the 24th worst defense in the league. Not at all. I mean, the defense that they're playing on Steph is pretty tight. He's not getting as much separation as he normally does. Even in the pick and rolls, he's barely getting any daylight at all. But as we all know, the biggest reason for the Kings' success is Mike Brown. I mean, he was an assistant coach with the Warriors since 2016, knows all the ins and outs of each player on the roster, knows all their plays, and knows how to best play against them on both offense and defense. He's the sole reason that I can't get mad at the Kings and the 1% chance that they do win this series. I mean, he was a huge part of the Warriors' dynasty success. Anyway, back to the Sabonis-Draymond situation. DeMontis was probably the MVP of the game because of the play where he held onto Draymond's foot for dear life. He also deserves an Oscar for his acting afterwards. I mean, the Warriors were only down 4 at that point with the ball in transition, with momentum, and Sabonis knew that he needed to resort to tricks like this to win the game, because the truth is, the Warriors probably would have won it had Draymond stayed in the game. In case you didn't hear it yet, Draymond came in 4th for Defensive Player of the Year and would have been absolutely huge going down the stretch of that game. But, oh well, that's over now, it's spilled milk, and it's on to the next play. And like I said earlier, a lot of people are chirping now that the Warriors are down 0-2, and for that, I'll say, I love it. It'll just make things a lot sweeter at the very end. You know, like how the Mavericks beat the Suns last year after going down 0-2. Or how the Bucks beat the Suns the year before after going down 0-2. Or like the Clippers back in 2021, who came back from 2 back-to-back 0-2 deficits. Heck, to be honest, that's a pretty long list of teams that overcame 0-2 deficits like this in NBA history. And what better team to do this again than the defending champions, who play like a first seed at home? So to all the haters who are saying that the Warriors are already over, let me relay something that Luka once said.